Hello. Hi, everybody. We'll get started in just a few minutes. Want to give a chance for everybody to jump in and get set up. So we'll have the Q&A open. If there's any questions, feel free to ask. And we'll get started, like I said, just a couple minutes past the hour. That way all the attendees can show up. Okay, let's get the webinar started. So first off, welcome to the Hubdrive Partner Webinar for November. Really appreciate everybody taking the time to join in with us. And like I said, let's get things started. So first thing that we'll cover here is the agenda. So we've got some extremely important product news that we're going to cover as the first agenda topic. I want to touch a little bit on the sales bootcamp that we offer. Also address marketing campaigns, how we can potentially work together to generate some business. And we're also going to talk about the benefit check that we offer for prospects. As I started in the last partner webinar, we're going to talk about the top partners for Q2 FY21, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So before we get started, I've got a couple of guests with me today. So just want to introduce them and let them introduce themselves. As always. So number one, I think everybody knows me. If you don't, I would be really, really surprised. But I'm the Microsoft and Partner Alliance Manager for Hubdrive. And now what I'd like to do is turn it over to Holger real quick to introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Holger Tangermann. I think most of you are also aware of me, as I'm usually doing the partner training on the new roll-ups. Internally, I'm the head of customer success, and now I turn over to the third person in this call.
Hello, everybody. Yeah. So my name is Florian. Most of you should also pretty much know me. I'm the head of pre-sales at Hubdrive, responsible for all the functional questions in sales, and therefore will be presenting today everything you need to know about the benefit check.
Okay, now Holger is going to take over really quick and talk a little bit about some important product news.
Yes, on product news, we will have an interesting December ahead, most likely with 2 roll-ups of us being published. Why do we do 2 roll-ups? Well, the reason for it is that Microsoft is deprecating the dialog functionality from Dynamics 365 CRM. As you all aware, we have a couple of dialogues still in our solution, for example, to replace contracts or to do changes on an existing leave request, which was already approved. The dialog functionality will be deprecated, so with the new update removed from the solution and will no longer be functional, beginning from the 8th of January in Europe. And then Microsoft is slowly updating the system and starting with it in North America on the 15th of January. So by the end of January, no dialog functionality will be available on the platform. As we all know that most of you are test our rollups intensively, and before they publish it to customer systems, we had a decision and a solution to that issue. We will publish the rollup, which is called rollup 31.2 on the 30th of November. This rollup will contain everything which rollup 31 already contained, and additionally it will contain the replacement of the dialog. We replace those dialogues with PCFs which are directly registered on the form and will deliver the exact functionality as the dialogues did previous. For partners, we will also publish a release candidate on the 23rd, so next Monday, which you can download from the partner portal. On other product news, some of you are aware on a solution called SMB Security Solution. This is an add-on which we originally created to help small customers easily set up a security concept without having to administrate business unit teams and other things like different role creations, etc. It was solely based on that the supervisor is able to see the employee based on sharing and unsharing. The latest version which we published on the SMB security solution to the add-on was rollup 30. With the deprecation, we will no longer update it. So for rollup 31, 32, and 33, and every other rollup which we publish in the future, there will be no add-on solution any longer for the SMB security solution. This will have an effect on some customers. We estimate that only 10% maximum are using it. We suggest that you are going back to the platform functionality and help those customers to also go with business units in the administration part. If you have any questions on this, please come back to me, please come back to Jason, or ask them in the partner webinar which we have on the rollup release of rollup 32, as we can go in more details there. Thank you, Jason.
Okay, thanks, Holger. Appreciate it. One last product news that I wanted to talk about is this is something that's relatively new for us. So we've been working with StepStone for a little bit of time, and however, we've just recently officially become a certified StepStone solution partner. And why we did this is because we want our customers to be able to use StepStone as a multi-poster all around the world, right? If you go to their website, you'll be able to find a screen much like the right side of this slide, where you can click on the flag of the country that your customer is in or the customer is in themselves, and be able to see all of the different sub-posting boards or job boards that the StepStone integration will post to. Right. A lot of people have asked me in the past, in terms of partners asking me, or even Microsoft, do you have a multi-poster, something like Broadbean? So we've chosen to work with StepStone. This is also a great functionality because they have the quick apply, meaning that the applicant can go in, do a quick apply scenario, and it instantly will come into our solution. And it really creates a much better candidate experience because they kind of set in a login scenario. So if they apply for multiple jobs, then by all means, they don't have to redo it, right? It simply helps them that way. And again, we added them so it would enhance our solution. The candidate experience is also ideal, and it makes it much easier for recruiters and HR in general to reach a larger applicant audience. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about our sales bootcamp, right? Many of you already know about the sales bootcamp. This isn't our first one. This is our second one, actually. And we're going to be offering it in December. We sent out a newsletter to all the partners, just kind of giving a heads up of when the time is, kind of the scheduling of it and all of those bits. And several partners and even potential partners have reached out to me to sign up for this. But I want to talk a little bit about it because it's not just a sales training, right? It's a little bit more than that. And there's been some, let's say, specific questions that people have asked me. And some of those questions are who and why should we attend, right? Who should attend and why? Well, number one, it's right now the only training focused solely on HR in the Microsoft ecosystem worldwide. And when I say that, I mean an intensive 2-week training, right? It's this training is not just focused on Hubdrive offerings. It also is focused on Dynamics 365 human resources. And right now, Microsoft hasn't caught up with the trainings and everything. Talent has been offered as a certification training and all those things, but this will obviously help in preparation for when that does come out. And as you all know, HR is the only thing that we are focused on. Many of you as partners have ERP focuses and F&O focuses and certain things of that nature, but we focus simply on HR. And we've got several trained experts that will be providing training. And you have a chance to learn from their experiences as well as some of their mistakes, right? And who should join? I mean, really anybody that's doing sales to HR, consulting HR, or marketing to HR that want to have a quicker and higher ROI. Just kind of diving into what some of these sessions look like. So this is week 1, which is really geared towards sales, marketing, and consulting. The first 3 days are just about solutions. So our solution, meaning the Hubdrive HR solutions, to include D365 HR and our Power extensions. And we're also focusing on how to present those solutions in an exciting way. What are the best click-throughs that we could possibly have to demonstrate? And also highlighting on some of the unique USPs, or just USPs rather. That way, when you're focused with the customer, it's catering to their needs, right? And then in week 2, we're focusing on online sales, for example. With the current world situation, let's just be honest, everybody's doing online sales. The unique thing about us as Hubdrive, we've been doing online sales for years. That's always been our business model. We don't fly around the world, but yet we still have 36 different countries represented using our solution. Everybody knows that closing, for example, is absolutely key, but the middle part of the sales process is where you really make the potential customer excited. And this is what influences them to actually close in a positive manner. And we can show the different approaches that we take all the way from qualification through to evaluation and closing. Now, this isn't a one-size-fits-all and everything that we are going to offer is ideal, but this is different tools that you can add to your toolbox to help get that better ROI from all of your engagements with a customer. And if you're interested in participating, there's a couple of things that that some partners have asked me about is, do I have to book the whole boot camp? You can book the whole boot camp, that's completely up to you, or you can book individual sessions that you feel are important, right? And in terms of signing up, all you have to do is just contact me, right? I'll put together an offer for you and send it out, and then we can work on that together. And of course, it's going to be an online event. Obviously, with the COVID situation, we really don't have a choice in that matter. Next, I'd like to talk about campaign opportunities. And this has been, something that I always talk about in our partner webinars, but this has been a topic really recently that a lot of partners have asked me about. Hey, what are some ideas? What are some things that we can really focus on? So it's important to know that there are low-hanging fruit, right? Where can we focus our efforts in a cost-effective way? And a few of the partners that are you partners that I've worked with have asked me, hey, what can we do to our already existing customers that are using different dynamic solutions but not using an HR solution? What should we do to work on them? And so, the message here that I want to portray is where to focus is your existing customers, because the worst thing that you can do is find out that they're looking for an HR solution and they're doing it behind your back, right? Usually you don't find out about that until they say, oh, we've already got an HR solution that we're using from a different vendor. We didn't know you guys had one. So what can we do to try and avoid that? And what can we do to work together? So most of you send out newsletters on a routine basis to customers to kind of spur that upselling scenario. We're happy to provide content, happy to have you work with one of our content folks to put in teasers about HR. We can offer webinar series. There's already 2 set up with various partners in January, and we're happy to do more. Improvement calls. This is a technique we use when somebody calls or a lead is interested to just try and find out what is it that they want to change in their processes. What are they unhappy about and what are their pain points? And then we're happy to do what we call ILMs jointly. So an ILM for us, a lot of times in your language, it's product demos, but we call them interactive live meetings because let's just be honest, the HR buying persona is people that want to work together. So they like to be interactive. And the bottom line is it's ideal when a partner and a vendor are really working together as one to demonstrate the product. And joint sales in general is an ideal thing for us to do. That's why we all chose to become partners, right? And how to participate in that. It's really not a big drama. Just contact me. I'm your partner manager for right now. We've, as you all know from the last partner webinar, we've added an additional partner manager at Hubdrive. Her name's Yulia. She'll be starting December 1st. I'll be onboarding her and bringing her up to speed and introducing her to all of the partners that she'll take over. She is from Germany, so she definitely speaks German and will probably take a majority of the DACH region partners. But just reach out to us and we're happy to have it, have a discussion about how we can work together. And we are not the sole people that have ideas for campaigns. So if you have some campaign ideas, feel free to share them with us or share them with me, and we'll see if we can work them together, right? When it comes to joint sales and joint webinars and all of those things, capacity is limited. It's not endless. We're not a 80,000 person company. So first come, first serve. That's just reality of it, okay? But we're growing really fast, so capacity is coming. I think we've actually added about 13 people in the last 4 months. So capacity is coming. They just need to get a chance to get onboarded. And so right now I'm going to hand it back over to Florian. He's going to briefly run through the benefit check that we offer, and we can obviously kind of highlight that. So over to you, Florian.
Thank you. So as Jason said, we want to give you some information about the benefit check that we're offering, which is, as you can see in the slide, about time, money, safety, and convenience that we can help the customers to improve on. If you would go on the next slide. So when we're talking about a benefit check, we're talking about the benefits that we can offer them when it comes to HR within their processes, but also from a technical perspective with the Dynamics platform that lies underneath our solution. Please go to the next slide. So what are we actually doing with them? The point is that, as a lot of you guys know, they are not a lot digitalized when it comes to HR. So there's a lot of potential out there that needs to be, or where they are looking for actual improvements and where we can do a lot. And we want to change that. We want to help them digitalize, which is actually our vision at Hubdrive. So this is really what we want to do. And therefore, we not only want to enhance sales from us and from partners, but we also want to help the prospects in their decision-making processes. If you could go to the next slide. Yeah, so what are we actually doing? We want to help them by offering services that show them how they can benefit from an integrated working throughout their company. So like you see on that picture, showing them that they can really benefit from having this integrated solution, one part within HR, but also to other departments which could help them benefit from that. So we will always focus on HR because that's pretty much our only focus that we have and the main topic that we're always talking about. But we will also, of course, look into other departments and how the connections could be improved, how they could really benefit from this connection and use it in a positive manner. If you go to the next slide, there's just a little impression of the things that we try to show them when it comes to the usage of the solution, the benefits that they have in the solution, and what they really might improve with. If you go to the next slide, then there we see a glimpse on the actual analysis of the processes that we do. So we really go through all the processes that they have, take the time, talk about what processes do they have at the moment, how are they doing things, how could they do things in the future if they decided for our solution or, for example, for the Dynamics HR solution, and how much time and money they could save in the future if they are doing it like that. If you go to the next slide, then you see...
Actually, if you don't mind, I just wanted to ask one quick question.
Sure.
So when we're talking about saving money, we're really talking about saving time and effort, which increases productivity, correct?
Exactly. So of course, we're having to do with the HR people who are responsible for HR. And they usually don't really look into cutting jobs and stuff like that. They rather look into how they and the employees that they are responsible for can really use the time that they have for more productive things, for things that are more fulfilling them. So we're not only talking about reducing costs and increasing efficiency, we're also talking about improving the actual comfort they have, the actual motivation they have, and the employees that they're responsible for, so that they can really use the time that they have, which is limited, as you said in the other topic. They can use this time to do the things that they really want to do, that really drives the company to be more successful in the future, to use it for more important topics.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Florian.
Yeah. So if you so there you see, you know that picture, you know the modules that we have and the areas that we are engaged in. But this is also something that we really offer our prospects to say, look, these are the modules that might be important for you. What's the one that you're focusing on the most? What's the most important for you at the moment? The one where you have the most pain points, and also the one where you have the most potential to actually improve something. And if they decide on one of these, then we can really figure out who's the right person to talk to get through all these processes that are involved. And how should we actually allocate the time that we have for this workshop to really get into the details of how it is at the moment and how it could be in the future. If you go to the next slide, then you see that we have an overview, which is also on our website, which shows what kind of modules we're offering, what are the topics that we're talking about, and what is the perfect interview role, meaning who's the person that we should talk to really go into the details in this specific area, which is of course just a recommendation from our side because it could be different from company to company, but this gives them a good guideline of who should they send to which part of the workshop to really figure out the important things. And it also shows you what the time is that we estimate will be needed to really go into the details of every certain module to really talk about everything that's important there. Because of course we don't need to focus on processes that are not important or that don't take a lot of time, but on the ones that are really crucial for the company.
And so, Florian, just a quick question. So as I do simple math, because that's the strength for me, it looks like if a company wanted to do the whole thing, right, then it would take about 13 hours. And I know on Tuesday you sat down and did this with a potential customer. Can you just tell me, or tell the whole audience, what was the feedback that you got from the customer after going through this exercise with them? And how many modules did they actually look at?
Of course. So with this customer you're talking about, the main background or the reason why we sat together and did this was that they currently have 3 different projects going on, one ERP focused, one the potential HR solution that they want to introduce, and also another one which is in another area. And for them, it was important to figure out which is the project where they can really leverage the most, where they can get the most increasement of efficiency, and what's the most important for them. So we sat down with different employees from certain HR departments or areas that they have, and we went through different topics from staff administration, automation to talent management, and so on. And it was actually a 5-hour workshop where we sat together and went through a lot of these topics. It was a lot of discussion between them internally, but also in a dialogue with me to really figure out how long does it take to do certain steps at the moment, and then also with our solution potentially in the future. And in the end, we had quite a positive feedback because they themselves figured out how long it takes to actually execute some of the processes that look like standard processes, like a leave request or taking care of the skills that are in the system and all of these topics. And they really themselves didn't really know how long it takes in general to get that all done, because once you sit down and really go through all the certain steps that different people have to do in order to fulfill one common task, then you really find out how long it takes, or how long it takes, at least when you're not yet in the age of digitalization, so to speak. So they really figured out a lot of potential, even though we just looked at a tiny little bit of the overall processes, because of course we would have had to sit down like a week or 2 to really go into every single process that they have, but it already gave them a good overview of what's going on at the moment and what potential they actually have if they go with our solution. And we did that in an interactive way, so that whenever they were not really sure about the time that they will need with our solution in the future, we just went into the solution, we did it together, and I showed them how quickly this can be done if they use our solution in comparison to the long and analog process that they're having at the moment.
Cool. All right, thanks.
Yeah, and this is actually what we're focusing on in this. So it's not about just selling our solution or something. It's really about, let's sit together, get into the details, let's see how the processes are at the moment and how they can be in the future. In this case, with a focus within HR, but it could also be something that is more related to the Dynamics platform underneath. If you go to the next slide, then we see what the actual agenda looks like of this benefit check. So as you can see, it would simply be a short presentation of the participants and the actual goal of the appointment, because of course, if you don't have a goal, you're not really focusing on the outcome. So we usually do it in a way that we have an internal moderator from their side, so that there's one point of contact who takes care of when does a certain person of their company have a part in the whole workshop, and who's really, putting together everybody to get this started from their end. And then we're presenting the current working methods and the desired improvements that they have. So we really focus on what's the most important aspect for them. And then we present the additional improvements that might be possible. We evaluate it together. And in the end, they get a summary and a documentation of the results, which you will see in the next picture, which consists of certain aspects. First of all, of course, which will be important in order to convince management in the end, there's a break-even analysis. In this case, it's the one that shows the difference between the benefits and the cost, so that they really have a complete overview of how much invest will it be and what is the benefit that I'm getting out of it. If you go to the next slide, you will see the break-even when it comes to comparison between different buying models like purchase, subscription, maybe a hybrid approach or something like that, which is then in the end really where they get the exact numbers of what will it get me as a benefit and what will it cost me. So they really have an opportunity cost evaluation of the solution. But as I said in the introduction, this is not the only thing we're focusing on. So time and money is one aspect, but we're also focusing on security and comfort. So we're really going into where might be a security gap, which usually already comes from them, that they say, look, we have this and this topic, may it be GDPR or something else where they really need to look at, but at the moment don't have the measures to do so. So we really try to get into this and see where might be problems with security, where might be problems with comfort, because if a leave request takes a lot of time, that's of course not really comfortable for the employees and also not for HR or the supervisors. So this is a lot of things that come together here and that make up for this overview in the end, where they really can see time, money, comfort, and security compared to each other.
That's pretty cool. One last question before I move on to the next topic. Mm-hmm. My understanding is we are offering this benefit check with partners to customers or to their potential customers, and mm-hmm. obviously to our own generated leads that are hopefully to be customers someday, completely for free in December. Is that accurate?
Yeah, exactly. So usually it would come at the usual hourly rate that we have at Hubdrive, but as a special offer and in order to help you testing it out and using it in your actual approaches towards customers, we really do offer it at the moment until the end of December completely for free, which means that you can really use it, test it yourself, see how much it helps you and the potential customer to really evaluate the software and the processes and everything, and then take it from there to see whether it's something for you next year to come.
Great. Thanks a lot, Florian.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that sounds to me like an absolute opportunity. Definitely something to put in the toolkit to use at a later date or with existing customers. Thanks. Okie dokie. Moving on to the next topic. Obviously, we're in the middle of what we call Q2 FY21, so we are obviously synced or aligned with the Microsoft year system. And so let's talk a little bit about the top partners for Q2 FY21, and I put so far. So it's only November. There's a lot of partners that have opportunities that they're working, so these things could change. But I want to recognize the folks that are, in the lead at this current moment. So without further ado, for license sales at the moment, it is BI Team. And BI Team is a partner that's located here in Germany. We've been partners with them for years, have an amazing working relationship with them. They're highly trained, can't say enough about them, definite professionals. And it's going to be tough for the other partners to knock them off, but I'm sure they welcome the challenge. So a round of applause internally, right, for BI team so far this quarter. And then the next category is lead and opportunity generation. And it's pretty amazing. Incubit is a relatively new organization. I've seen them grow over the year. We've been a partner for about a year. They've really embraced the HR vision, shared it with us, and they've generated a ton of leads this quarter so far. I will be honest, based on knowing all the leads that come in from partners on a daily basis and weekly basis, it's going to be tough to catch them. Be happy to have somebody throw the challenge in there, right? We're always looking for new opportunities. So Incubit, big round of applause to you guys. Really appreciate what you're doing and the effort that you've got going. Okay, great. Now what I'd like to do is just open it up for any questions in the chat. And Holga, myself, and Florian will hang around for a little bit. Obviously, I realize there's some delays with live events, so feel free to ask any questions in the chat, and we'll, like I said, hang around. I will also send this out via a link once the recording jumps over. And we will also put it on our website broken down into sections. That way you don't have to fast forward or what have you in any particular scenario. You can just focus on the sections that are important to you. And of course, if there's questions, specific topics, those sorts of things that you need to address, each one of us, whether it be Florian, Holga, or myself, obviously email is a great way to do it. And you can always give us a call. So again, we'll hang out for just a couple more minutes and answer any questions. Okay, great. Hey, I appreciate everybody joining in on the partner webinar for November. Really appreciate everybody that's chosen us to work together as partners. Look forward to being just as, or if not more, engaged here in the future. And as always, if there's any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to myself. And of course, Holga and Florian are happy to support in any way need be. So appreciate your time and wish you the best of luck and happy selling. Cheers, everyone.